Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to The Cosmic Catch-Up. I'm Corri.
And I'm Dana. We're real-life sisters who said no thanks to the 9-to-5 grind and yes, please, to the stars, spirit, and soul-led living.
Around here, we're talking ascension, astrology, human design, sound healing, and the messy magic of waking up.
So if you've ever thought, there's got to be more than this, you're our people. Two sisters, deep talks, whole lot of magic. Let's catch up. Hello, Corri.
Hi, Dana.
Oh my God, it's been a long time.
Hi, everybody. We missed you.
Yeah, welcome back.
Have you missed us? I don't know.
To the Cosmic Catch-Up. I bet you thought you'd never see us again.
But here we are.
Here we are.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, longer than a minute, like an hour.
Yeah, it has been.
We took some time off, and we kind of prefaced it in past episodes that it was going to be a busy fall.
It was.
Turned into a busy holiday season, and now we're like into 2026.
Yeah, it's official based on a few calendars anyway.
Several calendars, which is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about calendars, but first.
Well, I thought just to give you guys some context, we last year spent a lot of time on many woo things, what we call woo things, for spirituality and helping people who are on their awakening path.
Yeah, I look at that. We're calling it season 1.
That was season 1.
Our first 20 plus episodes. Mm-hmm. I look at that as kind of like a spirituality awakening 101, sort of like if you're on that journey and you're just joining us, I highly recommend going and watching those past episodes because we talk a lot about what it feels like to wake up into a crazy matrix and to develop your spirituality and a bunch of cool woo things that we love to get into. And then now, looking at season 2, we're kind of looking at this as like, all right, how do I put all this into practice in my daily life?
Especially with what's going on when you see and hear about things in the mainstream. And there are what we believe are some underlying real aspects that are going on versus what they're actually telling you. So we thought we might tap into some of those things and uncover what we think. You can decide if it resonates or not.
Yeah. Again, we're going to be using our intuition, talking to our higher selves and looking at, what is the outside world telling you versus what does, how does that resonate internally within ourselves, but also some of the channelers and other spiritual people out there that we follow and respect as well. So yeah, you need a mix of everything.
Well, speaking of how to integrate into your real world, I had a moment today and, I had a call with a potential client. I was super excited, and it was at 10:30 this morning. And so I'm, getting ready, going to fire up, and I go to my computer, and it will not turn on.
Of course not.
And I keep trying, like, what's going on? Well, I found out it was unplugged.
How did your computer get unplugged?
I was probably messing with something in it, whatever. So anyway, I had no power. So I thought, okay. Now, old me would have been freaking out. Like, do I cancel? What do I do? I was like, I'm going to pull out my iPad. Fine. Yeah, great. Pull out the iPad. She gets on and I start talking and there is an echo.
Oh, yeah.
And I could not get rid of the echo. So I had, and she couldn't hear it, but I could. So every time I would talk, it was a 2-second lag and I'm hearing myself repeat exactly. So I'm trying to talk and not listen to myself.
Oh, no.
It went very poorly, in my opinion.
So no longer a potential client?
I told her it was happening, but whether or not she believed it, I don't know. So it was very rocky. And yeah, I don't know that she'll be back, but I also am a big believer in what's meant for you will find you. If for whatever reason she felt like I resonated with her, she'll come back. And if she doesn't, that's okay. But it was a good practice in don't dwell on stupid.
Yeah.
What could I have done better or differently? Yeah. More so just, okay, well, it is what it is. I made the best of it.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for her, that's okay.
That's a great practice in release and allowing and like letting things unfold as they're going to unfold versus getting yourself worked up about it, getting really frustrated. And we know that, you may not know this, which is why I'm going to share it, that as you continue to raise your frequency and you operate at a higher frequency, there tends to be a lot more technological glitches around you. A lot. And they can't be explained and they're just random. and they happen sporadically, and then everything's fine and everything operates like it was never broken. Speaking of like,
but I think it's an opportunity too to almost not to test yourself, but to let things, to your point, unfold. And if it doesn't go the way you planned, be prepared to pivot and adapt the best you can. And then it is what it is.
yeah, there's no point in getting frustrated or angry
No.
about it, because that really just hurts yourself.
Yeah.
Like, why? Speaking of, we were getting ready to record today, and we haven't recorded in at least 2 months, like maybe more.
Yeah.
And I'd open my computer and I was like, what's that program we used? I can't remember the name of it or the website. Finally, it came to me. Then it wouldn't load. Like, all of our past episodes had disappeared.
Oh,
you
didn't tell me that.
Oh, yeah, no. It was telling me we were offline, but every time I looked at my computer, it's like, no, it's connected to Wi-Fi. Like, I'm checking the connection. I disconnected. I reconnected. Nothing's working. So I did the old tried and true. Turn it off and restart.
And it worked.
And then it was fine. But it's very much that, like, I could have been like freaking out and getting super frustrated, because old me, like a past version of me, totally would have been like panicking. All of our stuff's gone. And I was like, if it's gone, it's gone. Whatever.
Whatever.
But
It's on YouTube.
Let's just, yeah, it's on. You will pull it off YouTube. It was fine. So yes. And then it was just like, let's just be calm about it. Let's try restarting. And then everything was fine. So yeah, just adapt and flow.
Flow is important. Welcome to 2026.
Speaking of 2026.
Speaking of,
this has been really cool for me to observe it through social channels. How many people have been talking about, why do we start the new year in January? And when it's winter in the north, and this is just the northern hemisphere, winter in the northern hemisphere, like, that's a time of rest. That's a time where we recharge, where the world is sleeping. The ground is sleeping. Nature is sleeping. So, like, why would we start something new? And I'm hearing more and more people question that. And when I started to really think about it, I'm like, well, there is the calendar New Year. There's a Lunar New Year. There's a human design New Year. There's an astrological New Year. And then every time you have a birthday, that's your personal New Year. And I'm like, my God, there's like 20,000 New Years.
so many New Years.
Yeah.
And I would say the Gregorian calendar is the most popular, which is what you guys know today.
The global
It's
calendar.
The global calendar. We're going to talk about how that came to be and why, but you start to see more people questioning it too, because you say, well, why are there 12 months and they're all different lengths? And it creates the nervous system, I think, gets like a little angsty because
It's in friction with nature.
that's right. And so we're going to talk about what other people have been talking about on whether the Gregorian calendar really is the right appropriate calendar or not. Now, whether this ever changes, who knows, but it's certainly been interesting to explore.
I think what it does is it wakes up consciousness at a collective level that time is completely made up.
Yeah.
We have just made it up. And so if we want to unmake it, we can do that too. So I think the more people we get thinking about this, the more it opens up possibilities and potentials to realign our bodies to be in accordance with nature.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I was going to say and forgot, and it's back, was when you talk about the new year and how it starts on January 1st and people try to make New Year's resolutions, but they never stick.
Yeah.
Well, they're not intended to, because it's not time to start fresh or start new. The body knows it's in hibernation
It's
mode.
in hibernation.
So it's going to be really hard.
Why am I going to
get
wake
that done.
up
Yeah.
when it's dark outside to go to the gym? Because, health is usually a major component of New Year's resolutions. In the dead of winter, why am I going to think that I'm going to have the motivation to do that?
And we fortunately live in a southern state. So we typically, although we just had a snowstorm that my kids were out of school for 3 days. It was ridiculous for 3 inches of ice, I guess. But there are northern states have gotten hit really hard, and we're not going to talk about weather right now. Maybe
But we
later.
will. We totally are going to get into weather.
But it was interesting because a lot of people started talking about how this was not a traditional weather pattern that we have historically seen, and so that brings up things like potential weather modification
and human consciousness around creation.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun one, but that's later. We're going to talk about time today.
Well, yeah. It's all about time. Time or lack of, or
Lack
your
of
perception
time.
of it.
Yeah.
So should we start with the Gregorian calendar?
Yeah, let's start like with our current calendar.
The current calendar.
Yeah, like where did that come
If
from?
you didn't know, it is called the Gregorian calendar. However, it actually started with Julius Caesar.
So a Roman calendar.
So yes,
Originally.
So I'm going to check my notes here. And what I thought was really interesting is that actually the year began in March. So it initially did begin in March.
Springtime in the Northern Hemisphere. Ding, ding, ding.
And there was no January or February. So that also, so it was only 10 months.
Okay.
And the winter did exist. It's not like it didn't, but they just didn't really count
They
it.
didn't count it. They're like, everybody just take a nap.
Yeah, just rest until March.
That long winter's nap.
Yeah. And I guess that later, I don't know when later was, but then that's when January and February were attributed to Numa Pompilius. I don't know who
some
that
other
is.
Roman
so
dude.
Someone who decided to add it. But then we had Pope Gregory the 13th and introduced this what's now the globally dominant civil calendar in 1582. And it was designed to correct the Julian calendar because the Julian calendar basically held the day 365 days, but it's like a 0.2 or something like that. There's like a decimal.
There's a little extra, which is why we have a leap year.
Right.
With an extra day.
The Julian calendar didn't actually account for that, and it was off just slightly. So as the Julian calendar kept going,
it just kept
started
being more
drifting.
off, more and more off.
Yeah. So basically when Pope Gregory came in, he's like, we got to fix this.
Standardization.
That's right. And so it was designed to correct that drift. And so, however, it basically decided it's going to optimize based on taxation, record keeping, and church observance. Because again, this was the Pope.
So forms of control.
Forms of control.
Time as a way to control humanity.
Yeah, correct.
Interesting.
Correct.
Okay.
So basically, the key features, which everyone should be familiar with, is we have 12 months, but we have uneven month lengths. Not really sure how that came to be.
Yeah, because you have 4 months, only 30 days. And then you have a bunch of months that are 31 days. But then February is only 28. Like
sometimes 29.
Sometimes 29. But couldn't you pull a day from one or like from a couple of the 31 days and have more 30-day months and fewer 31-day months? Like why was February 28, sometimes 29 days? That feels like it feels weird. It feels suspect.
It does. It's odd. And maybe there's a rationale. I did not dig into why.
I don't think there is. I don't feel there is a rationale other than something shady.
I mean, yes.
I think everything's shady.
Well, we do now. Everything we're like, that's not right. So basically what we start to see and what we started questioning was, okay, why all of this? And you start to wonder and question because of the power angle. And it was convenient for authoritarian figures like the government, like the church. And again, for whatever reason, they decided this is how it's going to be. And I believe, personally, it very much resonated that it disrupts the nervous system. When you're ebbing and flowing on different calendar days, and like even today we were like, what day is it?
What day is it today? I have no idea.
I lost a day somehow.
There was an extra, you added an extra day because you made it the 28th. I made it the 30th. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. So again, but it can be confusing. And you ask any kid today how many days are in a month, they probably don't know.
Don't know.
And there was a song and I still can't remember it. Like it's 30 like 30 days
has September, April, June, and November.
Okay. That one.
The little nursery rhyme thing.
Yeah.
I remember because my birthday is the last day of November. So I always know there's only 30 days in November.
I always remember February's 28 days.
Sometimes 29.
Sometimes 29. So we're going to talk about maybe how we could fix all this. But anyway, so that's essentially the Gregorian calendar. So we start on January 1st and we end on December 31st and then starts the new year. Now, why we celebrate that, I don't know. Because again, we're still in the dead of winter.
Yeah. I think things were matched up. Well, at least I know church holidays were matched up alongside pagan holidays so that it was easier to convert pagans to Christianity. But I don't know what pagan holiday might have been on January 1st that they might have tried to create a celebration around, or if they even did. I don't know about that.
Well, to that point, it's really interesting because Easter is built on the equinox. So there is connection.
Christmas is around the solstice.
And we're pretty confident Jesus was not born in December.
No, that man was not a Capricorn. That man was definitely not a Capricorn.
Agreed. So it's weird that some of it is interwoven.
Yeah.
And you think about astrology, and then others it's not. And
maybe they just needed a date to start taxing people, and they're like, we're gonna make January month number 1, and so the first day of this, and here you go. I don't know. I think we celebrate because we're always like, thank God that other year is over. Yeah. But technically, is it?
But is it? Well, and okay, so that brings us to the next new year, which is the Human Design New Year. And
Tell me more about that.
That starts January 20th, 21st. It actually starts with Aquarius season.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And the reason, which I love this. So basically, again, Human Design is based on the sun's movement, and there is a lot of geometry, I would say, with it. So when the sun enters Aquarius, and I think it's usually around the 20th or 21st, right? Depending on leap year or not, I guess. Aquarius is all about shifting the focus from personal survival to collective direction, innovation, future-minded awareness, right? So Aquarius governs, tell me if this is wrong or not, information fields, collective patterns, future orientation, group consciousness.
Ding, ding, ding.
Great. Yay.
And so much more.
And more.
But yes, that's correct.
So for Human Design, and it's all about the neutrinos, and neutrinos carry information, right? And that mass passes through and carries the information through each of us. That's how your Human Design chart is built, is through those neutrinos. So it's about informational imprinting. And so when it enters in Aquarius, that actually activates gate 41, and gate 41 is called the start codon, or it is also the gate of fantasy. So it represents the beginning of a new experiential cycle. So the cycle is about to begin. And in genetics, a start codon initiates protein synthesis. So Human Design maps this biological principle into the consciousness cycle. So
it's like a start of something.
It's like you turn on the engine.
Okay.
You're turning on the engine with that. And so gate 41 is the gate of fantasy. It's about the energy of imagination, emotional beginnings, new experiences, and stories through desire and fantasy. Now, there is always a gift and always a shadow. And the shadow is really about escapism, which I think a lot of people have been doing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's through a lot of ungrounded longing. And so I've heard a lot of people say, I just wish things would go back to the way they were. So that's, again, living in fantasy.
Hate to break it to you.
We're not going back. Now, the gift side is more about anticipation, which I've been feeling a lot of.
Oh, yeah. Excitement.
What's possible, and the door to fresh experiences. And so it's a beautiful gate. And so that's what we kick off the Human Design New Year with.
I love that.
So, yeah.
So, January 2021st is potentially another new year.
Yep.
Then we have the Chinese Lunar New Year.
When is that, Dana?
That, it varies each year, but it's typically sometime in February. And you need to look at each year specifically. A lot of times it is summarized by your birth year, but you should look at those calendar dates. I had a client recently, especially if you're born in January. She was born in January a certain year, and she just assumed she was the Chinese zodiac sign associated with that year. And I corrected her because I was like, no, that Lunar New Year didn't start till the end of January, beginning of February. And since you were born early in the month, you're still considered part of that 1978 year. And she was like, oh. So it totally opened your eyes. So I do recommend go online, look at the exact year for the Lunar New Year for the year you were born, especially if you're born in that January, February timeframe, because you might not be what you thought you were.
Because the Chinese Lunar New Year starts after the second new moon of the winter solstice, correct?
Yes, that's why it varies. So it's really based on a lunar calendar, and it's been used for thousands and thousands of years. And the month begins on a new moon. So a lunar month is about 29 and a half days. There's 12 lunar months to equal 354 days, and that's about 11 days shorter than a solar year. So That's
missing some time, Dana.
That's missing some time. But that's, again, why you should check those dates for your year and don't just say, oh, the year I was born, that's my zodiac sign, and because it could be very different. So let's see. You were saying it falls on the second new moon after the winter solstice. Second new moon typically lands between January 21st and February 20th. That's why it kind of feels like it's February most of the time. But again, check your stuff. So key features. There's 12 lunar months, sometimes 13. Leap months are added to stay aligned with the solar new year. There's a deeper connection to agricultural, festivals, natural rhythms, energetic differences, and time as a repeating cycle. So there's an emphasis on harmony, balance, and timing, less on linear urgency. There's no like due date deadline. And when you look at the Chinese Lunar New Year, they're associated with particular elements, and they rotate in a 60-year cycle. So we're entering into, on the Lunar New Year of 2026, into the year of the fire horse. Well, the last fire horse year was 60 years ago.
And what are we leaving?
We are leaving the wood snake.
And I don't know if any of you guys have heard, this has also been fascinating because this has also been coming up a lot. And the wood snake, and the snake is all about transformation and shedding
old things, shedding
letting
old
go.
skin, letting go, deeper transformation, spiritual unearthing. Oh,
So we're still currently in that time.
we are.
But as we move into the fire horse, and I mean, that in and of itself, you think about a horse, which moves very fast, and fire, right?
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into that. But the Lunar New Year for 2026 happens on February 17th. Same day we have an eclipse, folks. We'll talk
That's
about
not
that.
accidental either, I do not believe.
Not at all.
Nothing is.
There's no coincidences at all. So why does this matter? So life is organized around nature, not productivity. Cultural memory is preserved through timekeeping. So it's really great. We don't know the exact dates. You just have to go back and look for past years because, again, there's that little wobble of time in there. All right. So
you, just to add a little flavor, you're a horse.
I'm an earth horse.
You're an earth horse.
Yes. I am very excited as a horse to go into another horse year.
Yeah.
Now, a fire horse is going to be slightly different flavor than an earth horse because, as you would imagine, with earth signs, they're more stable, connected, more grounded, more like they're considered very loyal. So again, it's not a rushed energy because earth moves slower, but it's still horse. So it's still about boldness. It's about adventure. It's about moving forward. We're just like, we're moving. Like we've done all this shedding of all the past, getting out of the snake. And now we're going to go into the horse. It's like, it's time to move. It's time to go.
I find Chinese astrology actually quite interesting, and I've gotten into it more because the conversation has been coming up that it's going to be so dramatic.
Yes.
Which is very exciting. So if you guys haven't checked out your Chinese astrology, I think you should check it out.
Yes. And allow yourself the next couple weeks to finish the snake year and the transformation and the shedding. So you might have felt like old triggers have been coming up, or, you're being drawn to certain things, or you're finding that you're less drawn to things you used to like and pay attention to. And now you're like, kind of over it.
You may still be purging too and think, the new year started. Why am I still feeling like this? Because it really hasn't.
It hasn't really started. No, it's a fake new year.
Yeah.
So it's a conditioned new year to where you believe you're supposed to be moving forward and doing new things and having new energy when really the new energy hasn't started yet.
That's right. So give yourself grace if you have not been feeling like you think you should be feeling.
Yes.
Because February, woo, get ready.
It's an intense month, and we'll get to that. So let's talk a little bit next about the astrological new year. And that is based on kind of a solar calendar and it's Earth's relationship to the zodiac. It begins in Aries season, which typically takes place in the northern hemisphere, the spring equinox. But really it's that Aries season because Aries kicks off the astrological zodiac wheel. So that's the first sign of the zodiac. That's when your new year begins. So this is really about, there's 12 signs. Each sign is roughly 30 days. So it's aligned with the seasonal energetic shifts. Why do we care? Well, the year begins with the initiation of life force. So energy builds, it peaks, it declines, and it rests. And that's just the cycle of energy in general.
And you think about the 4 seasons.
Yes.
That's it.
So in the northern hemisphere, it's spring, It's a time of rebirth. It's growth. That's when you should set your New Year's resolutions, is in the springtime, when you have the energy to get out and go and you feel the earth wakening up and you're ready to go and move forward as well. And then the summertime is really that growth period. You're establishing, you're grounding these new habits and behaviors in. And then we have fall and it's time to harvest all that we've been building. And then winter is for resting. And those are just natural cycles of earth and natural cycles of how energy works. So this is all about time reflecting consciousness and not clocks. It's a key contrast because the Gregorian calendar starts in winter. Again, we've already talked about why that's weird and shouldn't work.
Shouldn't do it.
Shouldn't work at all. So there's a lot to be said. And this all kind of came up in December-ish time frame. I was talking with a friend and she'd been given some advice to kind of clean up. She had some lingering responsibilities that were just kind of hanging out there. And she was given some advice like, you should take care of those before the new year starts. But we were only a couple weeks away from January 1st and she was getting a little panicked. And I was like, well, what new year are we talking about? Because yes, technically January 1st is a new year, but then you have your Lunar New Year in February. And let's say you can't get it all taken care of by then. Well, you have until the equinox in March, really, to get this stuff taken care of.
Pick your new year.
So pick your new year about what feels comfortable for you to finish out and do. And her birthday is coming. It's in I think it's in May. And I was like, well, you have a personal new year in May. So if you want that to be your new year, great. Like, you have time. Don't put so much pressure on yourself.
And to me, it also makes much more sense if you're going to do New Year's resolutions, do them with the Aries season, because that is the rebirth, the start, the beginning.
And it's fire. It gives you energy.
So think about that. Yeah. If you try to do New Year's resolutions and it hasn't worked, try it in April.
Try it in April. So that's another thing. There have been talks of, back in the day, April 1st, which we call April Fool's Day. As being at the start of a new year. And
why do we call it
and
April
we wanted
Fool's Day?
To change it, so they wanted to make you think it was as a means of control, to like, this is a funny day, not a real day, kind of thing. So yeah.
So what do you do with all that? I don't know. Put it in your pocket. But there has been a lot of talk recently, and it's coming up more and more in social, because I do think people are waking up to asking a whole lot of questions of like, this doesn't even make sense.
Doesn't make sense, yeah.
So the question became, what if we started a calendar that was 13 months with 28 days each, and then there's one day at a time?
Exactly.
That math sure works a lot better.
It sure does. Isn't it where, like, let's pretend the month starts, like the first of every month starts on a Monday. It would be consistent for every month. Every month would start on a Monday. Yeah. It'd be a lot easier to remember. And it's in cycle with, more natural energies.
And it's in cycles with the moon.
Yes. And women's
natural cycles.
Yeah.
And so there's a circadian rhythm that comes with that. That's why we think there was a reason not to have that, because it disrupts that rhythm.
Well, and 13 is a divine feminine number, which is why it has been bastardized, and all these horror movies are made around it in society. An unlucky number. No, it's a divine feminine. It is associated with nature. Again, there's 13 lunar cycles, which matches up with women's moon cycles, and it's part of that divine feminine receptive energy. So of course they wanted to make it not
think about this too. So with a woman's cycle, if you're working with other women, what happens? A lot of times you start to get on the same cycle, because we're all energy and there's a connection. If the whole population starts to get in the same rhythm, on the same energy, what does that do? It disrupts
control.
And so they had to figure out a way that there would not be rhythm and connection and unity consciousness, really. That's what it disrupts.
Yeah. I think so.
So, and we've already talked about it, but it disrupts financial systems. It disrupts payroll cycles, religious observances, corporate scheduling. It just throws all of their schedules out of whack. So, gosh, why would we want to do that?
Yeah, it's about authority over people and control, which was the age of Pisces. That was a dominant theme when all of this was put into place. But we're leaving that age and into the age of Aquarius, which is all about people having the power themselves. It's your own sovereignty, and it's power to the group of people, not to a few.
You know what's also interesting? So I noticed, and I haven't seen it lately, but when daylight savings ended, which I think a lot of people got confused, if I'm being honest, because people were like, I don't want it dark so early. Well, daylight savings kept it lighter longer. So there was a confusion between what daylight savings is versus standard time.
I mean, I was confused most of my life. I think I get it now, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, if you think about daylight savings, it's saving daylight. So people are up in arms. And it's starting to be sprinkled in from the government saying, I think we should get rid of it. We should get rid of it. And then you've got people going, no, I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to get rid of it. But at the end of the day, it was put in as a disruption tactic. And daylight savings was, if you think about the farmers back before daylight savings was a thing, they got up with the sun, and they went home when it got dark. Well, corporations don't want you home when it's dark, because that's like at 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah, they want you working as long as possible.
So they like daylight savings because it keeps you in the office and other places longer.
Well, and in the manufacturing plants,
absolutely.
Quite frankly, when it was first started, there wasn't necessarily the corporate job
Fair.
as we know today, but manufacturing facilities and plants where they had workers. Yeah.
So I actually am in support of, again, going back to more natural rhythms because it's a disruption. If you think about it, how it impacts children, right? Because they're very susceptible. If you set your clocks forward or back, you've got kids that can't sleep, and even our rhythms it's like,
totally
my body
disrupted.
doesn't know what it is.
It gets disrupted.
So let's let it go.
Yeah, and it's another reminder that not only are our days made up, but the hours in the day are made up too. So time is completely made up. Whatever you want.
I think what was telling is that it is being talked about from a government perspective. And so to me, that may open the door for further conversations about our calendar.
Oh yeah, that gets me excited. Like let's do some changing. Let's see what happens.
And I think we are, and we're going to talk about the astrology, but I think we're in a year where there can be a lot of massive changes that are going to be very unexpected in a good way.
Yeah.
And it opens the door for a lot of opportunity, which to me is just thrilling.
Oh yeah.
So do you want to jump into astrology?
Into the astrology. Well, yeah, talking about New Year's. In the month of January, we had on the 26th, Neptune moved into Aries. Again, Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, we have started a new 165-year cycle.
That's kind of a big deal.
Big deal, which means in a currently typical lifespan, because I think that's going to change in the future too. But in a currently typical lifespan, you would not ever have like Aries, like Neptune. And not everybody has Neptune and Aries pass through their chart, nor it's like a once in a lifetime kind of event. I think that's going to be different in the future, but we'll get there. So this is like the last time Neptune was in Aries is from 1861 to 1875. It spends about 14 years in a sign.
So maybe a past life.
Definitely a past life. Definitely you experienced in a past life. So this idea of we're starting a whole new cycle with that, and it's going to be interesting.
Is there a lot of outer planet shifts that we've never seen before?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So 2025, I love that it was aligned with the Lunar New Year of the Snake because it's all about transformation and change. And in 2025, we got a taste or a little test preview of what several outer planets are moving into fully in 2026. So Neptune and Saturn spent a few months in Aries in 2025 and then went back into Pisces to finish out their shedding cycle. And Uranus moved into Gemini briefly from Taurus and then went back into Taurus to finish out its cycle. So in 2026, the spring, like this first quarter basically of 2026, according to the Gregorian calendar, is seeing these outer planets move from earth and water signs into fire and air signs. This was initially kicked off when Pluto, back in 2023 and 2024, was moving in and out of Aquarius into an air sign. So we will now have all of these outer planets, including Chiron right now, in fire and air. And fire and air are the fastest moving elements, air being the absolute fastest, followed by fire. Then water is slower and earth is the slowest. Think of earth like being still. Water moves, so that does move, but not earth just doesn't really move. So in this idea of this has been coming, this has been happening, really this shift in our cosmic evolution has been going on for a number of years, and you can keep going back to see when it started, but there was a big shift in 2020 when we had the first conjunction in about 200 years of Jupiter and Saturn were conjunct in Aquarius in an air sign. I think that's right. Please bear with me if I'm wrong. But this idea of they've been meeting up in earth signs for 200 years. And they will now, moving forward since 2020, be meeting up. And I think it happens like every 20 years they meet up. They'll be meeting up in air signs. So again, shift in speed. So when we look at, what the kind of the information or the visuals that I get when I think about 2026 is if you are putting a car in gear. So January 1st happens and we're like, okay, you're in first gear. And then we get to maybe this Neptune moving into Aries, and then you get a little shift into second. So things start ramping up. Then we're going to get into February with February 14th, Valentine's Day. Saturn moves back into Aries, and it's going to stay in Aries for another two-ish years. 2+ years in Aries. So that's a big shift. So we get a little bit of a gear in there. Then we have the Lunar New Year on February 17th, along with a solar eclipse in Aquarius. So that human design year in Aquarius.
Yep.
We've got this big solar eclipse. So that's new beginnings. Solar eclipses are about the new, the manifestation. It's a new moon. It's exciting time. So new beginnings. When we have this Lunar New Year, it doesn't always fall on an eclipse. So this is a special, very rare occurrence. So now you're shifting into like fourth gear. You're like, boom, here we go. And then we have our, a couple weeks later on March 3rd, we have the second eclipse in Virgo, another big shift. And then we have our astrological new year happening on the equinox.
And we hit turbo drive.
Basically. And then I believe it is in April. Let me reference my notes. Yes, April 26th, Uranus re-enters Gemini. So that's the final outer planet that's been hanging out in a slow sign that's going to just like, boom, rocket forward. So this whole year, and then it being a fire horse, right? Being a fire horse is about forward movement, momentum, boldness. All of that is going to propel us. This is going to be a really, really fast moving year, like faster than we've ever seen. We all can acknowledge we feel like time is speeding up, and it has been, but this is going to be like crazy. And if you feel like January has gone slow, appreciate that, because it's not going to go slow after February 17th. And with that, I think 2026 is going to be a year where we really start to appreciate retrogrades.
Yeah.
Because those are natural slowdowns in our cycles, natural pauses in our cycles, where it will allow us weeks at a time to sort of integrate these new energies and be a little slower and give ourselves a little bit of a break, because I feel like we're going to really need it. If you are if you're big three, your sun, moon, or rising in astrology are in an air or fire sign, it's going to feel more natural, I will say, for you. But I want to put in the caveat that even though you might be an air or fire sign, you've been operating in cosmic energies that are earth and water. So even for those of us who have that, it's going to feel super fast. We might find it more exciting than, say, your earth or your water signs who are going to be like holding on for dear life. We might find it a little bit easier, but it's still going to feel really fast to us.
And again, we are in the age of Aquarius, which is massively huge. I talked a little bit about Aquarian energy at the beginning, but there's a whole lot more. And I don't know, maybe we spend some time on a future podcast even talking about what that looks like.
We really should. I think that's a great idea, because we've gotten, like I said, little tastes of this, but now it's like full throttle. So when we have Pluto in Aquarius, which is an air sign, and we have Uranus in Gemini, another air sign, and then you have outer asteroids like Sedna in Gemini, other like further out. We call everything a planet, but planets and points in astrology that are in these air signs are pointing to disclosure, information, truths surfacing, like deep truths surfacing. So when I see this stuff in social media, people just talking about time and calendar, that's a truth that is starting to surface that we all need to look at. When we talk about what's happening from a government perspective, these are all truths that are surfacing. And Pluto specifically is upheaval of hidden secrets. Sedna is tied to deeply, deeply hidden information that we have to look at. We have to look at the sludge and the gross of what has happened to us from a societal perspective, from a humanity perspective, in order to heal it release it into the light and move forward. So it serves a greater purpose, but it can feel yucky and crazy and shocking in the moment.
And I don't think there's going to be any more burying your head in the sand. You're going to have to look at what this is, and instead of dismissing or saying, oh, that's conspiracy, or oh, that's not true, or whatever it is, you have to pull it out in the light and say, could it be?
Yeah.
Maybe it is. And be open to the possibility that everything you've ever known is not real.
Might be a lie.
Might be a lie.
And even if it's not, being able to say and discern, is this true for me or not? And because we're all having different experiences and different realities, but this idea of this last year of 2025 being that snake, that transformation, having Neptune in Pisces for the last 14 years, having Saturn in Pisces for the last 2.5 years, that Pisces energy of fine-tuning and honing our discernment, opening ourselves up to our spiritual gifts, shedding any of these ideas of control over us, and the idea of what have we been disillusioned by, what has been an illusion, because Neptune is all about illusion and disillusionment, what has been fake, what has been fantasy, and then pull it back in to be like, okay, what feels real, what feels true, what is my discernment, what is my own intuition and instincts tell me, because we have to rely on that moving forward.
I would say be observant. I am one of the most non-observant people growing up. Head down, eyes, focused, missing everything around me. Now I look at everything. Yeah. I get angel numbers out the wazoo all the time. So I'm like, okay, great. Thank you.
You're on the path.
I'm on the path, moving forward. So be observant. When you hear something, don't immediately dismiss it. Think, interesting. Maybe.
Like, I love the idea of like, well, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but that's an interesting thing to think about or to contemplate, or what does it feel like to me?
We don't know, but I am open to possibility.
Yeah.
And so one of those things we're going to talk about might be the shape of the earth, for example.
I'm open to possibilities.
We're open to possibility.
It may not be either argument.
It may not be anything that we've heard.
It could be nothing that we've heard. It could be like a fourth or fifth option that we haven't even thought of.
I love that people are talking about it and saying, well, what if?
What if?
So it just opens your mind to the possibilities.
I think it's going to be a really fun season. I'm excited about that. So let's pull a card. We're going to try to be somewhat consistent this season.
Well, and actually, I am going to pull my Soul Truth cards. Got them from my sissy. And it's a self-awareness deck. I really like this because it offers advice.
I love that.
And you can decide if you want to do it or not, but I thought this could be collective advice.
Yeah, we're going to see, what is the collective advice for today?
What do you want to know?
For this
what do we need to know for today? So we're going to just get in here and pick one. This one. Okay. Well, the question is, am I clear on what my soul really wants? Okay, take out the shoulds and the limitations, get out of your head, and pay attention to your heart's desires instead. If you knew it was impossible to fail, would you do it? Wherever you go, go with all your heart. So today's soul action is ask yourself, what is it that your soul really wants? What does your heart crave? Then take one step in that direction.
Ooh, I love that.
I love it. It's perfect.
That's great advice. And that's probably something that I don't know that I know. Like, I think what my soul ultimately wants, but like what I do ask myself that right now, because again, we're gearing up for another new year. What do I want to create in this fire horse year?
Yeah.
Like, what do I want to experience?
And if you feel so called, drop it in the comments and let us know.
Love to hear.
What does your soul want, and what are you exploring?
We'd love to hear from you guys. I think we will and do promise to get better at looking at comments and responding to those, because we're doing this for ourselves, for sure, because it's fun, and for y'all. So I'm gonna say thank you. We had 2 friends / fans reach out to me and say, like, when are you gonna do the podcast again? Are you gonna do it? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. We should probably talk about that. So to the 2 of you, you know who you are. Thank you. You inspired us to get back on this and be doing this again. And yeah, the minute we sat down, we're like, we don't have any topics. And then we proceeded to come up with a huge list of
like
topics.
14 or 15 topics. So we think we have topics to cover. So
at least for a few more episodes.
Excited to have you back with us. We look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, shine your light bright, friends.
Love you.
Bye.
Thanks for catching up with us on the Cosmic Catch-Up. If today's episode sparked something in your soul, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share the magic with your fellow seekers. You can hang with us on Instagram at the Cosmic Catch-Up for behind-the-scenes updates and more cosmic goodness.
And if you're feeling the call to go deeper, we offer personal guidance through our individual practices. All the details are in the show notes. And if it's aligned, we trust you'll feel it. Until next time, keep following the magic. The content we share reflects our personal experiences, insights, and opinions. We're not medical, legal, or financial professionals, and we encourage you to always do your own research, trust your intuition, and seek guidance from qualified experts when needed. Take what resonates and leave the rest. This journey is yours to explore.